Welcome back to Doors and Corners. I'm Brian.
I'm Zach.
And what are we watching tonight, Zach? It's another Star Trek movie.
I'm not going to tell you.
You're not
I'm not going to tell you.
You make me guess again,
No,
aren't you?
this is a rebellion. Okay.
Okay.
This is an insurrection.
There you go.
I'm in control, and we're gonna watch we're gonna watch the original 1933 King Kong. No, okay. This is Star Trek Insurrection, which many people believe to be the worst Star Wars.
It is the worst Star Wars movie.
Be the. I think that it would be a better Star Wars movie than Rise of Skywalker. Many believe this to be the worst Star Trek film, and I am not personally of that opinion because I think it has absolutely wonderful character moments for the Next Generation crew. But when you really dissect it, this movie is an utter failure of the themes of Star Trek.
Yeah.
And it is unfortunately just so boring. And we're supposed to care about these people. That's bland lady, annoying kid, and guy who looks like human Shrek from Shrek 2.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Boring is a great word. We recorded motion picture over a year ago now.
Yeah, we had Patrick then before he decided to breed again.
Yeah. If anybody's curious,
we love you, Patrick.
He's multiplying, but he's good. He's still our good friend. We love him. But he's busy. He's busy with diapers. Now, to be fair, we've talked to this at length ad nauseum, so I'll make it super brief. I have a much greater attachment to the original cast, even though I love Next Gen's cast. But the motion picture is also boring, I will acknowledge, and it is a more cerebral story and challenging you to think of. It's not an action film by any means, even though it has one or two beats. And it still succeeds more, I think. I'm not saying it's great for everybody, but it succeeds more than this movie of taking a cerebral kind of lofty idea and trying to explore it. And I think Decker's a more interesting character than any of the extra characters in this movie. Ilea is also just kind of very, very, very Star Trek-y, just very exotic and
you mean highly overly sexualized because Gene Roddenberry was a raging horn dog?
He was, but their story is actually a little bit interesting. This, like you said, I don't freaking Baku lady. I could not name her to save my life.
Annoys the crap out of me, and that actress is excellent. Okay, her name is Donna Murphy. She's like Mother Gothel in Tangled. Okay,
that's right.
She's some friends of mine like to watch the show The Gilded Age, which is like a sequel to Downton Abbey, and she's one of the main people on that. And I'd seen her in several other things throughout the years, and she's always been like memorable in her roles. She's always done pretty well. But in this, she's so, like, serene. One of the things that I've learned is that serene characters are boring. I don't know a single, like, serene, peaceful, oh, look how just, like, meditative we are. That's interesting. Like,
the only way you can do that is going, like, the monk route or, like, the teacher route, somebody that's really hit a point in their life where they have wisdom to impart, but you need, if you're going to do that kind of character, you need excellent writing, and you need the character that they're interacting with to also bring a lot. And as good as Patrick Stewart is, their interactions in this movie I find very bland.
Or they need to be a little green puppet that talks backwards.
There you go. That works too. Yeah, I think you can definitely do serene, but it's hard. I'll give you that. It's very hard to do.
Yeah, but it's even harder to do it when you make them wear beige and just have them be bland white people or Mediterranean people.
Well, they're the space Amish who are just people. Like, they didn't...
And stand-ins for space Native Americans.
Yeah, and they didn't even bother to, and maybe it was I'm sure it was on purpose. It's not like they just accidentally forgot to put makeup on the people, but they're not humans. But they're just, they didn't so much as give them a spot or, something, a little
Give
bit
him
of
some ridges.
anything. I mean,
A tail.
it also makes them just utterly just forgettable. The Baku are one of those like Star Trek. And I was and credit to YouTube for this because they inform a lot of my knowledge because I watch too much YouTube. But the there's nothing that the criticism of this is basically just like a two-parter. I disagree with that.
Yeah.
It's no,
No,
most two-parters are good. Most two-parters are even the bad ones are memorable. I mean, we were talking about Descent last week with First Contact, which is not even remotely my favorite two-parter. But I remember it. I remember, the interactions with Lore. I remember Beverly taking command of the Enterprise and flying down into the sun and using the one time they ever showed the phaser array on the bottom of the star drive section to like erupt the sun to kill the Borg ship. Like, there's some good stuff. And I think it's the only time you see that. Maybe in Best of Both Worlds you see it shoot, but it's one of those underutilized arrays. But even that, which I would consider a weaker next gen two-parter, is more memorable to me than this film. And film should
That's because you've completely forgotten about Birthright Part 1 and 2 and Gambit Part 1 and 2.
See, Gambit, you want me to talk about Gambit? I can talk about Gambit. I didn't forget it. That one, I remember because it's got the tune fork.
I literally, I'm looking at a picture right now and I'm like, I remember
it's
this episode?
Picard's with the mercenaries, and you've got the Vulcan who's mad and wants to bring out the weapon that uses people's like aggressive thoughts to kill them, and so literally Picard just says to his crew, "Calm down and drop your phasers," and all of a sudden she's impotent with her weapon. It's a whole thing, and you get Riker and Picard get to a fist fight a little bit. It's not amazing, but it's better than this.
Well, you see, I think that if this was a 2-part episode of Star Trek, it could be a little bit longer than an hour and 44 minutes, and they would have been able to actually keep in all of the scenes or some of the scenes that they deleted that helped the story to make sense. But we should probably start it because we're going to have time to talk about it because there's a lot of downtime in this movie. But one thing I will say, okay,
go for it,
is that one person on YouTube who I saw as I was looking through various opinions on this movie, and all of them seem to have generally the same, is that they said that they believe that it contains possibly among the very best 2 minutes of Star Trek ever filmed. And after going back and watching the scene, I'm like, you know what? They might be right.
Okay, you gotta tell me
what's so unfortunate.
I missed that video.
Do you want to know what it is now?
Well, I want to be looking for it. Go for it.
Okay. It's the scene where Geordi is seeing a sunset.
Oh.
The writing, the acting, the music, and just the themes of it. This whole thing of like beauty and nature because of science and because of the specific situations that they're in. This wouldn't be possible otherwise. Is so good. I rewatched it like 2 or 3 times, just like trying to see like, is this really as good as my emotions are telling me it is? And I think it is.
It is,
and
I
think that it might actually be like one of the like top 3 best moments in these movies.
Yeah, well,
it's so good.
I'm glad they gave LeVar a moment to remind people he is a good actor beyond just yelling, technobabble at the captain. So
I think one of the biggest mistakes Star Trek ever made was not giving LeVar Burton something where he is the man. He's the main man. I want, like, especially after Picard season 3, with how good he did in that and teaming up with his daughter, Mika Burton. Like, I wanted Geordi the miniseries, Geordi the movie.
Oh yeah.
And as I've seen more of his work, God, he's good.
He is really good. Well, the that Voyager episode where they crash Voyager on the ice planet, and Harry Kim and Chakotay get back, and they run into, they're trying to go back and save the crew, and Captain LaForge is on the Galaxy class Challenger.
Oh, he's on the Challenger?
Is it the Challenger?
I thought it was the Rhode Island.
No, it's a one word. Check me. I'm pretty sure that's Challenger. It's definitely a Galaxy class ship. I remember that. But the idea there that there was a moment in Geordi's career where he was a ship captain, and
Oh, I'm thinking of Endgame, the series finale of Voyager, when Harry Kim is a captain in the future. He's the captain of the Rhode Island.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking of. Same. What do you think? Uniforms.
Yeah, but the glimpse you get there of Geordi had was a ship commander at one point in his career, and I was like, I would absolutely watch the Paramount Plus show about that. But
Yeah,
although I think
absolutely.
LeVar Burton's aged out of that role a little bit, but no, you're right.
I don't know. He's a spry guy. He is. Maybe it's just because black people tend to age really well, or he's had incredible work done. But he's younger than my dad,
Yeah.
so
If you just did like a
just
one, like not a series, but just like a mini series, just like a 6 or 8 episode little adventure.
well, it's really simple. Okay, here's the answer. You pick up where Star Trek Picard season 3 left off. You have Jack, you have Seven of Nine, and you have Mika Burton's character, Geordie's daughter. Okay, and you have Geordie like mentoring Seven from like a home base throughout the course of the season. You get rid of Rafi because she's boring, and that'd be a huge conflict of interest being the first officer on a ship where your ex-girlfriend is the captain. Um, and then you just have the Enterprise G in the absolutely beautiful, incredible Constitution 2 class. And you make that show. And then at the end of the first season, maybe you like give him a glorious death. You kill him off somehow, but you give him time to shine as this incredible, wise mentor that just brings so much acting and class.
Yeah.
But anyway, Star Trek Insurrection.
All right. You want to give us those sweet deets, and then we'll get into this film?
This is Star Trek Insurrection, Year of Our Lord 1998, rated PG. This is 1 hour and 43 minutes long, directed by Jonathan Frakes, written by Rick Berman, but primarily Michael Piller, who wrote so many drafts for this movie. Poor guy. Leading cast, of course, announced just the other day, the now retired Sir Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, LeVar Burton, Michael Dorn, Gates McFadden, Marina Sirtis, F. Murray Abraham, Oscar winner, just fantastic actor, love that man, Donna Murphy, and Anthony Zerbe. There are a couple of others, but those are the main people.
Yeah. And Gilbert and Sullivan. Little shout out.
A British tar is a soaring soul. Oh, wait, we'll get to that.
That's Sala singing.
As free as a mountain bird.
Well, if you are listening to this podcast and you enjoy what you're listening to, or you hate what you're listening to and you're still here for some reason, which, thank you, I guess. But if you want to drop us a like, a comment, any kind of feedback, I do try to check those weekly and, interact with anybody who has reached out. We would appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to hit that play button in 3, 2, 1, go.
Here we go. Did you know that one of the original ideas for this movie actually began with Picard needing to kill Data? Because they have Data going rogue at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
That was going to be a thing where he ends up needing to kill him, and he is later resurrected, kind of, but not in like a complete way. And it was supposed to be kind of a send-off for Brent Spiner because he thought he was getting too old to play the character.
Yeah.
Apparently, this was vetoed by Patrick Stewart because he thought that it would contradict the last movie too much. And supposedly he gave him the script that he wrote on it, "Better luck next time." Because this is the first Star Trek movie where Patrick Stewart was actually an executive producer.
I honestly had forgotten about that. They did a little fake out of First Contact there. Now, we do get, I believe Jerry Goldsmith comes back to compose the score for this film.
It is Jerry Goldsmith, and it's pretty, but it lacks a grandiosity that the others had.
Yeah. Well, this transition here, and again, I have nothing against little children. Okay, Can I talk about the Baku for a little bit?
Go ahead and talk about the Baku as you look at this beautiful landscape that is only a couple hours drive from here. Much like other Star Trek and Star Wars, they looked at the California Sierra Nevadas and went, "Hey, let's build stuff there because it's super pretty."
Yeah,
that's my backyard.
one of the biggest problems I have with the Baku is they don't. I other than we can like it took us 300 years to realize it didn't take us 300 years or whatever nonsense she's talking about. It's they don't give you a compelling like reason. There's nothing about them other than just like, oh, they just have simple happy lives. But this like gift of, okay, these people on this planet, there's his associate producer Patrick Stewart, that there's a real this isn't doing anything. Like they're just chilling. And if you're somebody who like wants your life to be just a very peaceful, chill experience, that's totally fine. But there's this if you are going to make the argument, and I get that the moral argument's more basic than this, the idea that it shouldn't matter that they're doing anything with it, but there's nothing that they truly teach the crew. Now, I'm sure there was something in Michael Pillar's, or one of his drafts.
I was going to talk about that. There was something. So come back to me when you're done.
Yeah, but it's. And it's a tragedy because and granted, this is one of the last movies. The Next Gen crew didn't. If this had been an episode, I think you might have, even the serialized episodic stuff didn't really happen in Next Gen very much. It was more a DS9 thing. The crew doesn't learn much. Like there's not a consequence. I mean, Riker and Troy they were getting together before they beamed down. There's nothing really gained here. There's not like Patrick Stewart. Like what lesson does he learn other than every now and then it's nice to slow down. Like I mean,
now, this is a cool opening though. I like this.
Yeah,
this whole thing. This is interesting. This grabs attention.
It's the stark contrast between the tech and the Baku is definitely real and effective. But the Baku are so boring. You are empathetic for them on nothing more than a conceptual level, and not a the movie is giving you this amazing group of people who you can't imagine no, they're just don't disturb this. Like they have some other than just no, it's just they're just happy Amish people that happen to live in space, and there's you know what I mean. Like there's not a compelling reason put on screen that makes me go, I empathize, I sympathize with these people. I couldn't care less about these people. I understand the academic exercise of the point that they're trying to make about relocation and all that stuff, and that's fine. That bridge was wobbling. But you know what I'm saying?
It get shot at the edge, so it looked like it was supposed to be broken a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is why, but yeah, probably just fiberglass. Yeah.
They needed the Baku to be much more sympathetic for us to get invested emotionally in why it's so important that they don't get relocated.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't need that. Maybe we should be so in touch with the concept we don't need it, but human beings need it.
It was supposed to be in the original script, according to Michael Pillar's writings. The thing was that you were supposed to see Picard becoming at the beginning completely overwhelmed, doing a ton of things. He's preparing the Enterprise for war with the Dominion. He's making alliances. They're talking to him about being promoted to admiral. All these things, and he's losing who he was as a person. And he was supposed to go to the Baku and almost have a vacation, pretty much, and realizing that there are people who have their specific set ways of life, and that needs to be respected, that needs to be honored. But it's just they're doing what they're doing, and it's right for them, and they try to convince him that maybe everybody should be doing that, and he actually pushes back against it and essentially says, it's just no, I see the benefit of a peaceful, focused way of life, but I need to be who I am, which is an explorer. And I need to get back to being an explorer. I'm not a warrior. I'm not a diplomat. I'm a little bit of all of it, but I want to be up in my ship being the captain. I don't want to be an admiral. Which would tie into freaking generations.
Yeah.
Never let them take you out of that chair. But they removed all that.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be this whole thing of technology versus simplicity, but that doesn't make technology bad. Where in this version, it's just technology versus simplicity, simplicity good, technology bad, which
Yeah.
doesn't make sense for Star Trek.
No, it really doesn't. It's man, the Enterprise E still looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Although, okay, do
Good model
you
shot.
do you find the Enterprise E like I feel like after First Contact, where they had the Enterprise E come in and just kick ass against the Borg, right?
Mm-hmm.
That in this movie and in not as much Nemesis. Nemesis is a little more give and take, but this movie, I feel like the Enterprise E just gets kind of kicked around.
I don't think so. I think that it gives as good as it gets.
I think
Um,
they
it's
have to eject
incredibly
their
outnumbered. It's
warp core.
outgunned. It's survived. They need to eject. Yeah, but it's
I,
getting its asses kicked.
but
Like there's a
that's what I
reason
mean. Like
why they're
but
they're
you have
trying
here.
to ally with the Sona
I
is
just
because the Sona are powerful.
Yeah, I always, but that's what the thing that I don't get sometimes when you have the Sona. Like this is the pinnacle. Like this is a freaking sovereign class ship, and when you have
Mm-hmm.
this random race we've never seen before, who you find out later, by the way, is like a splinter group that had not nearly enough time to develop. Wherever they. Anyways, it's always odd to me to have them seem like just the Enterprise doesn't have a shot in a conventional battle against them. And this is
Right.
like the best that Starfleet has, and it always seemed a little bit like the Enterprise D on a regular basis would be a little more even unless it was something truly alien. But against just like Klingon or Romulan or Ferengi or random, not that it would always have the upper hand, but it always felt a little more balanced. I don't know.
I feel like Kate
Also,
McFadden got some work done between these movies.
she might. I also just
I think she got a boob job.
the scale of the collector thing when the Enterprise flies up against it. It's one of the effect shots I don't like at all. When the Enterprise
No, this movie's really inconsistent with effects. They had some ILM, but ILM was in full swing at this point doing Star
prequels.
Wars Phantom Menace. And so they went out to a bunch of different studios and it shows because sometimes the effects are great and then other times they're not.
Yeah. These
Yeah.
dress
I
uniforms are
like these dress uniforms.
yeah, but say they're interesting to me. It's interesting that Picard's got the all white in the front versus his color.
Mhm. I was actually sitting here looking at these dress uniforms and I'm just like, I kind of wish that these were the actual uniforms, kind of the lines and the design, and maybe they like just change the coloration a little bit and kind of have uh the colors input in there and like I don't know. I like how these things look. I think they look very dignified.
They do, but I do think again, and I do wish this movie had a nice beadwork. Um, I wish that this movie had done a little bit more to remind the audience. I mean, again, you and I we're familiar with DS9. We understand the context of the Federation's situation right now.
Hmm.
But I think this movie could have helped to like. And you talked about the fact that it sounds like it should have been there more on the page at one point. That the Dominion War, the Federation is in one of its most dire situations. I mean, since the Klingon or Romulan War, way back, in Kirk's era. So it's just they don't really this movie by itself does not really let the audience know that hasn't already been watching TV know like how things are right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Here we
sure
have
how
the
you would do
introduction of
that.
Admiral Dougherty,
Yeah.
who I always remembered Admiral Dougherty. I think that this actor, his name is Anthony Zerbe or Anthony Zerb, I'm not sure, but he was he was a Western actor. He was in a whole bunch of war movies and westerns, and
He's got that kind of
um,
face.
yeah, he's got that kind of face. I remembered him from this and from the Matrix movies. He was that elder,
Oh, that's right.
Elder Hammond.
Yeah, and
And those are like the
Reloaded.
last things he did before he died, actually.
Hmm.
But he he has a strong presence in this movie. I thought he was really good. Wait a
Okay,
minute, is he
that
still alive?
that line always seemed odd to me. Like
Which line?
the he didn't take it with
I was
him
reading about Anthony.
about his emotion chip. It was one of those like, wait a minute, I thought it was like fused and like he could turn it on and off like in contact, but in first contact, but it just always seemed to me like
Yeah, see, that
like why would Data not like would just pop it out and pop it in? Like what?
I actually that actually made a lot of sense to me. Even when I was a kid, I kind of like inferred what was going on there. Like, oh, he would have worked on it until it was removable. It was fused in generations, but it's been years.
Yeah.
And
Why would he?
if
Why would he take it out
he wouldn't want it to
versus just turn it
malfunction
off?
away from the only person who he trusts to work on him in the form of Jordy.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a
shot.
That's a shot.
What a good introduction for a villain, though.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the staples and the face thing.
That is quite the
This
staple
is
gun
F.
prop, by the
Murray
way.
Abraham. Yeah, good props.
Yeah.
These guys are like walking 7 of 9s. These little like this slave race that they've got. Very I don't know, like they look like Gothasari.
Yeah, but I say,
for any of you who've
and I
played,
think they're all women,
Effect.
right? Like, do you see? Is that there's like 2 races that they have like subjugated as like? But I trying to remember if we see.
Yeah, they have 2 slave races.
Do we see a male version of this slave race, or are they just here for?
I believe we do. Yes. But did you know that the character of Ruafo here, they asked a lot of people. They thought about a lot of people for that role. They officially offered the role.
Did you see?
To Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Have you seen did you watch the CinemaSins for this movie?
Oh, I did not.
Okay. One of the things they pointed out, and I'm like, I can't disagree with it. In that scene, they're in like the medical bay or something, right? And they feel the first blast. He walks all the way to the bridge. There's like another impact or 2, and then he's like, and raise the shields. And it's like, wait. That wouldn't just be like, we just got shot from nowhere? Like, that wouldn't have already happened? Like, somebody was waiting for the captain to, like, walk to the bridge? It was just one of those, like, it's nitpicky, but it's also kind of funny in my mind.
No, that's funny. I didn't even think about that.
You think they'd have enough autonomy to be like, we should probably raise the shields until the captain gets here and tells us what to do. Yeah. That's probably a safe decision to make on our own.
But yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger was first offered the role of Edgar Ruafo. Yeah. Oh, Gene Hackman and Wilford Brimley were also considered.
Oh, I would have loved to see Gene Hackman in a Star Trek movie. I like him a lot.
Right?
Yeah, I'd love too how they just like we need Worf. Oh, he was in the area. Just chuck him on like this. There's not even remotely.
They do make a little bit of a what do you call it? They do make a little bit more of an effort to have it to where he's transferred to the Enterprise for one reason or another. Like, as he's gone for a few episodes in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is funny. So, like, Jonathan Frakes is directing the movie, and he's just like, what we need to do.
Yeah.
But this also works in a really good way to be able to deliver us a bunch of dry sci-fi exposition, but it's elevated by the fact that they're being all flirty.
They are.
Because that's how you need to give exposition. You need to have people to be doing something.
I mean, who was I doing something to your neck? And I mean, Jonathan Frakes and Maria Sirtis, they genuinely do have chemistry. I mean, they kind of always did. And whenever they were in Picard, it was some of the best episodes. Yeah. I do love this. Just the one little reference to DS9 there.
Yeah.
Okay. What did he hit his head on? I didn't, because the beam it looks like he hit his head on is actually behind him. It's the window frame.
No, it like comes over. It's supposed to be like I think it's supposed to be parodying a lot of like submarine and World War II movies where they have the tight little bunks on ships and people are always hitting their heads. Hey, this Trill actress, okay? She only pops up in this movie, but I don't know why, but I latched onto her as a kid. I'm watching this movie. She has a bunch of reaction shots through the thing. She gives a couple lines. She's almost like a Hawk from the last movie, except she doesn't die.
The guy over up at Tactical, I think, he was he just walked away from Worf. He was in First Contact, right? Wasn't he the guy that basically it's like we're firing blanks or whatever? He gives him a report.
They've taken Tex 11 through 26.
Yeah, that's the same guy,
they've adapted all of our frequencies. It's like we're firing blanks. Yeah. I don't know that movie very well. Let's see.
You ever noticed that most other alien ships have little tiny view screens? The Enterprise has a big one. Like Federation ships have big view screens, and even like Klingon stuff, they have like quarter size.
It's because humans have worse eyes. Okay, that's actually something I missed last time. When we were watching First Contact, when they first go into battle with the Borg, he does the whole on-screen thing for the sake of drama. But you realize that they're going through all this staring at a blank wall.
Oh yeah. Well, so they actually redesigned the bridge here. I remember reading. Gosh, I think because back in the day I had a subscription to the Star Trek magazine. Because I was a big old nerd at this point in my life. Because I was 16 when this movie came out, but they had an article about the Enterprise E, and that they actually the view screen is different in First Contact. Like it's like a holographic like wall essentially, and in this one it's a traditional view screen, and they like wrote it in like, oh yeah, the Enterprise went through some some refits on the bridge, because the holographic it was a good idea, but it was just too complicated, and they replaced it with a traditional view screen.
Okay.
It was a whole thing. I remember it.
Yeah.
Okay, did this like survey craft or whatever Data's flying? Does it have like a jamming technology or something? Because nobody ever sees it coming. The Sona ship didn't. They didn't.
I don't know. They do mention that it seems that he made upgrades to it.
Maybe.
Also, cool design for a shuttle. Around this time, they were really getting into that. It looks like a cross between a classic shuttle and the Defiant.
Yeah. Make it so. Yeah, the torpedo did not look.
Special effects through here.
It's a mixture. I feel like.
And then this is, how do you feel about their solution?
The making him sing along to Gilbert and Sullivan?
Yes.
It's dumb, but it's also very Star Trek, so I don't mind.
I love it.
Like,
it's not good, but I love it.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of it's very Star Trek. It's kind of silly. Like this movie does have some character beats with the next gen cast. It's just that none of them, to me, other than maybe that Geordie's Sunset one, elevate to the point where they like surpass some of the other really good beats throughout next gen's run on television. And I don't think Picard remotely gets a moment as big in this movie as he gets, in the conference room.
No, he doesn't get that moment. He has a couple of like fun moments. He has some interesting things.
He's dancing to Latin music. Patrick Stewart was having a good time.
Latin music written by.
I love this. I love Worf. I haven't met all the crew members. They're again, CinemaSins.
Gilbert and Sullivan.
CinemaSins here is just like Patrick Stewart. How many 600-year-old Klingon composers do you know? It's like, right? Why would Worf possibly know who Gilbert and Sullivan are, right? Like, right. Picard looks at him like, how do you not know who they are? It's like, what are you talking about?
So, but this is really interesting, though. Okay, so this is this is this is a British tar from the Gilbert and Sullivan HMS Pinafore. Okay. Yes. In the Isaac Asimov story called Runaround, a malfunctioning robot recites Gilbert and Sullivan while evading capture by his human masters. And given how much of Data's character is taken from like classic Isaac Asimov, I feel like that can't be. I feel like that can't be a coincidence. Gilbert and Sullivan is hilarious, and it's funny how often it pops up in science fiction. Another notable time when it pops up in science fiction is actually in Mass Effect 2 and 3 with the character of Dr. Morden Solus.
He's so good.
Who loves patter songs, and he rewrote Gilbert and Sullivan to help him memorize medical terminology. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, do I remember that? What are you talking about? Of course.
Morden... Do you remember the extra that you find in Mass Effect 3 on the datapad in the Citadel DLC?
I do. And it's just, it's perfect. I have contemplated, not that long ago actually, redoing the entire trilogy where you let Rex die, because that's the only way to create a situation where Morden doesn't die in 3.
Yeah, but it's not good.
No.
You have to do everything evil.
I know. There's just part of me that's just like, but I want to not see Morden go up the elevator once.
I need a good death, so I was just fine with it.
Oh no, it's amazingly well done. I'm just, Okay, do these models just look? Well, this is CG, right? This is all CG.
Yeah, yeah.
Once they're in atmosphere, they just look a little plasticky to me.
They do, and I think that is the fault of the CG. I don't mind it. Um, uh, I think it looks good. I like the design of the ships. To me,
Well,
it's just a
I don't mind the
product of its
design.
time.
I'm just saying that the textures look like they needed a little bit more work, especially when they're in atmosphere.
No, 100%. I don't blame it because it was done in 1997.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. Do you remember which other effects house besides ILM was working on this?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's fine. It's all-
I think I saw it at one point. I can't remember.
nah, it's fine. That's fine. Hey, they're playing. Okay,
Hacky sack, super sack.
it's okay. This is also this. I mean, so this is like somewhere in Napa, right? This has got to be somewhere in the Napa Valley where they're filming this.
No, this isn't Napa. This is Sierra Nevadas.
This is this year. Okay, it seems more. Maybe I'm sure you're right. It's just
I think it's supposed to look like Napa Valley / Italy.
no.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. So Jeff, is he not dressed just like Shrek?
I never thought
And
of
with that cleft chin and that fuzzy hair
gosh.
and that cute button nose, that is Shrek when he turns into a human in Shrek 2.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
And I will never unsee that.
Oh gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
so they're like being held hostage and okay.
Yeah.
I'm just I have questions about this. Is one of those where I wanted like there's context here of like okay, so how long have the Baku been here? I think they answer that later.
300 years.
How long after they arrived? How long? 300 years. Fast forward. When did the Sona leave? How advanced were they?
About 50 years after.
Okay, so 250 years. When they came here and they wanted to ditch tech? Did they like go full Battlestar Galactica and like fly their ships into the sun and maroon themselves here, or did they leave a ship or two like parked on the other side of the planet just in case, and the Sona used them? Because they had to have the time to go and like build themselves a Federation rivaling level of like spacefaring race, right? That has Ketracel White and ships that can like match the Enterprise freaking E in combat. Like so, I have questions. Like, how did that all work out? Because especially if there are only a couple hundred of them.
There's a lot of room to expand for an interesting backstory. I just don't think it's impossible.
No, I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's improbable.
And there's that line like, "Oh, it's supposed to be so profound. Where can warp drive take us except for away from here?"
Yeah. To quote the YouTube guy, Rowan Colin, I think is his name. Anyways, but the idea that warp drive brought you here, so you should be a little bit grateful.
Right? Or think of like the last movie, that the first warp drive by Zefram Cochrane that heralded an age of peace and exploration and stuff like that. So
it's the idea that technology is not inherently bad. It is how we use it that makes it wrong or not. And the idea of a show that's all about exploration, all about discovery. And
because Discovery
boldly
wasn't about
going.
Discovery. Like Star Trek Discovery, it really had a chance to do things right when it had its little minor reboot with seasons 3 and 4, and they biffed the landing on season 3, but it's still a pretty good season to start. Season 4, very similar. They suddenly felt like they were explorers again for a Star Trek, and it still wasn't satisfying. That was the season where Burnham was captain, and she was just kind of like crying all the time. Like, I believe it was 11 out of the 13 episodes of the show. She has this former Vulcan girl is like just weeping on screen. Yeah.
I'm listening, but I'm also like, again, I think I like them in this. I do like. I think Jonathan Frakes, he's having a good time. Yeah. It's nice to see, and I mean, this was Yeah, at this point too, again, if you were into the show, Worf, who it was, not hinted at, it was full on just stated that he and Deanna had entered into a relationship at the end of the show, but then he went on to DS9, he met Dax, they got married, whole tragedy there we won't get into. And for
Dead
Riker
Dax.
and yes, for Riker and Deanna to get together, this is so good. You say yuck?
You say yuck?
Oh, it was good. I mean, that was a good scene to me. Like that was just a fun,
Okay.
romantic, funny. They're and I think
Revisiting that scene with my wife now as like a licensed therapist and stuff like that, I made so many jokes.
the
But yeah,
investigation.
you see, and this is what Geordi does really well in this movie. He doesn't get a lot of time, but they make him, because Geordi was good in the show. He had his moments, but he tends to be kind of overshadowed in terms of reputation because he had the certain episodes that show him to be a major creep.
Yeah,
Making a holograms of women that he really likes. It's like in today's modern AI, imagine taking AI image generators and taking your crush and putting her in skimpy dresses. Like, it's weird.
the
You don't
thing
want to
is,
do that.
I kind of defend the Leah Brahms thing, just because I think of the context. I know he did some other weird stuff, but like I think that one started out with like good intentions, and then maybe he just kind of got a little too attached to a hologram. There they are. Brent Spiner is so reliable, right? He knows how to
Right?
deliver a line.
He does. This is our 5th Brent Spiner movie of the year, and we have one more.
This is good. I do understand Brent Spiner's feeling of how long am I supposed to play an immortal android. I mean, because what Brent Spiner is probably early 50s at this point.
At this point, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, and he still looks great, but it definitely is. I could see why he would worry about that, right?
Oh, another thing, though. Yes, absolutely.
This
We'll
kid is
definitely
so
talk more
annoying.
about that with that. I hate the dialogue of the Baku. They sound more like robots than what's his face.
In Data.
Than Data. Like that line that Shrek just delivered, like where you first saw the lightning, the day the artificial life form appeared to us. The frickin' hell.
They fixed me.
Data's arc isn't terrible through this movie.
No, it's not.
What's his face? Rowan had a lot to say about it, saying it was incomplete, but I actually disagree.
I think that
With his whole like "I want to be human" thing, I think it works.
No, I like his. I think it's just a shame that this was so near the end. Like we only had Nemesis after this, and then I mean I know we had some in Picard. Obviously, seasons 1 and 3 we had some, but man, I can just imagine Jonathan Frakes be like, "Please let me be in a tub with Marina Sirtis. That's all I want."
What? I remember seeing this scene when I was young, and I was just like, "Whoa, that went from 1 to 100 pretty fast." But it makes sense seeing it as an adult.
I mean, these are,
But-
this is a version of humanity that is very comfortable with themselves, right? It's just very like, yeah. I love the idea that he's having this serious conversation with an admiral in this scenario. It's just like, ooh,
It reminds me
that
of
is
an
a
episode of the
long
X
needle.
Files.
Eesh.
It reminds me of an episode of the X Files where you have Mulder and Scully, and it starts with Mulder, and he's in a bubble bath, and he calls Scully, and she's in a bubble bath, and they're both lying about what they're doing because they don't want to admit they're in a bubble bath. And then they get a call from Skinner, and they're tough as nails boss.
Yeah.
And they're in the three-way
Colonel
call.
Caldwell.
Yeah, Colonel Caldwell. And he's like, "What do you?" He's like, "What are you up to, sir?" He's like, "I'm taking a bubble bath. Why?"
That's
He's
awesome.
just, like, secure enough to admit it.
Uh,
But yeah, up here. So I used to
this
be
is just
the
a
only on-site person employee at a summer camp for 2 seasons up in the Sierra Nevadas near the Sierra Buttes specifically, and it looked like this everywhere around there. And for some of these scenes that are higher up in the mountains like this, they were almost 10,000 feet in elevation, and they had to helicopter people up there. They had to have medical crew on standby with oxygen bottles in case people were unaccustomed and might pass out.
He's so good.
This is a good scene of like Data underwater because you know he can do this stuff, but they never had the budget to actually do them. And you know that you can tell they just dunked him in the water.
Well, I remember he's walking out of stuff. I remember in an interview him saying how cold this freaking lake was, and he's like, "Yeah, I just have to walk in like an android and just be totally unfazed, and I'm just like freezing my balls off."
Right? Oh, by the way, are you familiar with what this kid Artem, the actor, has gone on to do?
I have no idea.
Because my sister Taryn listens to this and she's probably screaming like, "Why didn't you bring up the kid yet?" Because his most famous thing so far has been a recurring character in the Twilight movies. That's his big claim to fame.
Who is
the
he?
Twilight movies. He was a character by the name of Mike. Mike Newton.
Mike.
His actual name is Michael Welch.
I'm trying to remember him.
But,
I unfortunately have seen all those movies. I'm trying to think of who that is.
He's like the high school friend who has a big crush on Bella, and she goes for Edward. I'm trying not to say Patrick Stewart for some reason because I'm trying to think of the actor's name. Robert Pattinson.
Yes. The
I
very,
remember he
very
was
good
in that.
actor who we didn't realize that he was a good actor at the time because of those movies.
But yeah, that guy though, the kid, he went on to do a lot of things. Like as he grew up, all the way up through still acting today. He's just one of those guys who shows up in stuff. One episode of this, one episode of that, one episode of this, one episode of that, and now he's actually playing adults because he, like Tom Holland, looked like a child until he was like 30.
It's the village. Oh no.
Yeah, some really rough green screen work with this holographic ship. The water dripping down the side doesn't look great, but how do you make that look good? You know,
that'd be a challenge for modern.
Ask in 1997.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of thing that unless you had, Weta, you would not be able to make that look good.
Mm-hmm.
He's Picard-splaining.
Mm-hmm. Picard is mansplaining. But yeah, like she's so boring.
Oh, she is, and she's got this like stuffy, squinty look on her face through the whole movie. It's just
she looks like she's smelling crap all the time.
Yeah. Why would they duplicate this village?
Like I do remember being intrigued. Okay, this was an intriguing thing.
You were what, 10
okay,
when this movie came
Santa
out?
Barbara CGI and Blue Sky.
Okay. Blue Sky's done some good work.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see this in theaters? In 98, you would have been, what, 8?
I think I did. I don't know.
I mean, I
know that I saw Nemesis, but I might not have seen this one.
This is a very PG movie. Like, this movie, to me, like,
yeah.
There's a little bit of body stuff with the Sona, but...
There's some skimpy ladies. There's implications of nudity. There's horny dialogue in places.
Yeah.
But like, okay, they just
none
had
of these.
They did so well with some of the practical effects. They had a phaser shot go right by the Sona that they killed, and he was like steaming. Like you could actually see smoke coming off of his body as a practical effect. Like such a small thing that was really stinking cool.
Yeah, this is one
like,
of the little
phaser causing explosions in the water.
Yeah, one of the little inconsistencies here. Yeah, where's the body? And none of the if they were firing real phasers in there, which obviously they were, none of they weren't reacting like holograms being hit by phasers. It was reacting like physical structures being hit by phasers.
No, that's fairly consistent.
Not unless you had a hologram
you have
with
like force fields with no safety protocols.
You wouldn't have
you can tell they filmed that in cold water.
Oh gosh!
I thought this was funny and being a flotation device. It's stupid, but I like it.
Oh man! This oh man, Worf's zit.
Mm-hmm. It is a gorge. Which, that was a quote when I was going through puberty. I'm just like, the thing on my face, and my mom would be like, "It is a gorge."
Like, it's hard. Okay.
But Picard in this look, you could tell Patrick Stewart was just like, I want to look sexy.
Yeah, I mean,
Put me in a
he's in
rolled-up
fantastic shape
shirt and
for his age.
unbuttoned, but I still want my rank.
Yeah.
And then
I hate
I had this thing.
shaved Riker. I do not like shaved Riker.
You don't like it?
No. He looks so much better with a beard.
I had this thing as a kid where I was just like, beards weren't cool. I based all of my heroics off of Batman and the Rocketeer, which are clean-shaven, marine-looking dudes.
Oh, yeah.
And so when he shaved, I'm like, oh, now he's like a hero. And it just, it has, my opinions have changed. Yeah.
This is another, so Crusher gets like nothing to do in this movie, right?
Very little. She has some stuff later, being like the leader of the Baku, as they're going through the things, and she has some quips, but no, vastly underutilized, which is why her conditions for returning in
I do laugh at this.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Brent Spiner is so reliable. It is weird to me too, though, and again, this was pointed out by Cinemasins, so credit to them. But Crusher's not like Captain something weird. Like if this had been an episode of the original not the original series, an episode of Next Gen, Crusher would have been like, Captain, something weird is going on. It's like yes, the results are good, everybody's like healthy or whatever, but it shouldn't be like, what's causing this, like what's going on. Like there's no concern. She's just like, yay, everybody's healthy. That's just awesome, and like end of the conversation. There's no She doesn't raise it as like what's going on,
and instead he just goes to boring lady. But
her haircut doesn't do any favors either. She's just, what do the British call it, a fringe?
I don't know enough about hairstyles. That's not my area of expertise.
I know that
there are bangs, and I know that there are ponytails.
Well, that's what the bangs in England is called fringe. You have fringe. This dude with the hipster haircut next to him that's taking a drink, he's like in a lot of shots and there's nothing to do. He's just there.
I'm not even joking. Rewatching this, given that Aneej here is single, I think these guys are supposed to be a gay couple. Like genuinely, they're always hanging out. They're always close together. I think they're supposed to be a gay couple. But they couldn't say it in 1997.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. Why? I want to... See, the thing is, this movie's a really good example to me of, if you make a movie where the big beats and the character stuff is all really good, even though you can nitpick any movie. You're right. I mean, like, we could go in and we could nitpick Wrath of Khan and First Contact and
I did nitpick Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
I found one error.
But you know what I mean? You can, but you are much more willing to just, like, you're not interested. You're not interested in nitpicking any little thing you possibly can, at least not as naturally, when the broad strokes of the movie are really, really good. When a movie fails at the broad strokes, it also makes it much more susceptible to being nitpicked, because you're much more like, you start getting into that negative space of like, this is bothering me. Okay, you start looking for things. It one begats another. You know what I mean?
Yes, people are more willing to ignore the small problems when the big picture is good.
Yeah.
But when the big picture is bad, it only highlights the small problems. Because this is the perfect example of that for me. Because I think this movie has a lot of really great stuff about it. I like the action. I like the ship battles. I like the character beats that they hit. I like the emotionality that they get in certain scenes. I like the humor. I like the sets, practical sets, lots of practical effects being mixed with CGI in a really great way. An interesting sci-fi concept that is introduced and badly followed through with.
Yeah.
But it's just like, all those things are in the positive column, but the movie bungles the big things enough that it renders there's not enough good in the movie that to overcome the bad.
Yeah. And like this whole, like, again, I get what we're talking about in history. You know, the Native Americans are a big example. There's forced relocation of people If anybody's listening to this and doesn't understand history, uh, the Americans doing that
It's
to the
not
Native
good.
Americans was not the first time that happened, despite what you might have been taught in school. But the if they had set up Picard being war weary, it would have made his temptation to this, his susceptibility to being really emotionally tied up in what he found here. It would have you would have gone along for it in a much more
Hmm.
natural way. But Picard's never been portrayed through all the 7 seasons of the show. And even in First Contact, he ended First Contact with this kind of renewed vigor for like, let's get back to our future. He's not somebody who's ever portrayed his life and his career as something that leaves him wanting.
Hmm.
And so to
Yeah,
have him
because
be like
there's all
tempted
kinds of.
by, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I wholeheartedly agree with you because bringing up this idea of the forced relocation, I think, is a really interesting way to go. And like you said, having like a war weary Picard would have really helped with that. Integrating the Dominion War into this would have been a little bit better. But I mean, like, so many things that you can talk about. Like, um, I mean, it's such a dark thing in human history that we don't like to bring up, and they could have brought it up more clearly to really show kind of how humans have evolved and why this is such a bad thing. Patrick Stewart himself said that after watching the movie, he had trouble understanding why Picard wasn't just like, "Sorry, you guys can't have the Fountain of Youth, bye," and
Yeah,
relocates them for the betterment of the Federation. They needed to explain it better. They needed to bring up things like the Native Americans in the Trail of Tears, the transatlantic slave trade, the Alhambra expulsion when the Spanish kicked all the Jews out of Spain and like forced something like 100,000 people to sell all their stuff and get out, and they ended up highly persecuted after that. Even like the Babylonian captivity of the Jews back in like 600 BC, which we have tons of historical record did absolutely happen, and relying on like biblical record, which has proven quite accurate to those times, like the book of Isaiah. Absolutely horrible things happen, and those are just the big ones. Go ask an AI about these things.
yeah.
And the expulsion of Jews and gypsies from German held, Nazi held
Yeah.
territories,
Or
the
even,
stuff that Japan did to China or that
oh,
China did to Korea,
yeah.
and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible things
There
come
you
from
go.
this type of situation. Yeah, yeah. Here's that.
So,
This is just a
yeah, well,
beautiful moment. This is the first time you're seeing LeVar Burton's
yeah,
eyes
you get his
in
actual
this
eyes.
context.
I,
Yeah.
I'm sure he was like just thrilled to be doing a scene without contacts in, right? Without a visor on his face.
Well, this is something he's asked for. Um, but yeah, just like especially after because I watched Roots as a kid for history. I saw quite a bit of it again recently, and I just cannot get over how good of an actor LeVar Burton is. And it's just I get that he got into different things and decided to do different things, but after being reminded of it and seeing him in other things, uh, I cannot help but feel we are utterly robbed of one
Yeah,
of the best Star Trek characters we could have followed. Um,
it's a good sunset.
in the form of Geordi.
Hmm.
But yeah, the
Yeah,
music is good, the emotions and the framing,
yeah,
keeping it tight on their faces when they're obviously filming outside. That's good stuff. But yeah, look at the effects in this shot.
yeah.
Full CG,
Look
that's
really good.
excellent.
Yeah, that's an excellent shot. The
And
Sona
here we
ships
see
do
the
look very
scale of the
cool.
Collector versus the Enterprise E, which comes in later.
Yeah, yeah. The Sona ships do look cool too. I mean, like they kind of they they look different than any other alien ship we've seen so far, which I appreciate.
Hmm.
Um, they're very
Hmm.
distinct, which I like. Sometimes it's difficult to make. Oh, that's a good. That's a good.
This,
Yeah, it was a practical effect. I'm assuming. It sure looks like
oh
it.
yeah, no, you can see a little bit of a pulsing of a tube that was underneath. Um, yeah, they like pushed some strawberry jam out of that facial scar. Um, they F. Murray Abraham is an Oscar-winning actor. He's fantastic. He played Salieri in Mozart. Just incredible actor. And for the longest time, I actually got him mixed up with another character who played Master Braytac on Stargate, but apparently they're not the same guy, and I'm racist.
Okay.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? He played Eno Cordova in the Star Wars Jedi series.
Yeah.
But there's a resemblance. But F.
So,
Murray Abraham is so good, and
yeah.
they don't quite use him right here, but
No.
he's a scene stealer when he's in the room.
Question again, I'm nitpicking, I'm sorry here. If this was a fully sanctioned mission, why
Mhm.
would he have kept this secret from Picard at the beginning? Like, why wouldn't he have been fully briefed? Like, what in-universe reason would there be for Picard to not know what was going on already?
This would be pretty easy to write around, very similar to a couple things that you end up running into in Deep Space Nine with the Admiralty not trusting Cisco, where they know they're doing some petty things, they're doing some shady things, and they don't want the general staff to know about it. Picard's not even supposed to be here. He was just supposed to be
Yeah.
here to pick up data and leave, and he instead butted in to a classified operation, and now he can't let his conscience get over that, and he's gonna bungle the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I mean, I don't know, maybe I've actually heard, I cannot remember who made the video, that somebody made a whole video about that if you actually go through all of Next Gen, Picard has kind of always been on the outs with the Federation Admiralty. Like, he seems like, I mean, part of it's just the overuse of the Admiral as the bad guy, but
The
that
Admiral.
there's that there's evidence that
Seriously, for those of you who don't know, in Star Trek, there is the trope of the Badmiral, where
Admiral.
literally 90% of admirals who appear and show up on screen to deal with the crew, they end up being a bad guy of some kind. And it started way back with Commodore Decker in the original series.
Oh yeah, but there is evidence that if you really kind of look into it, I mean, granted that was a trope and it was an overused one for sure, but it also points to the fact that Picard may have actually not been, as much as he was respected, that they kind of wanted to keep him at arm's length because he caused trouble, basically.
No, that's absolutely true. Like, it's in several books. I love books, okay? I love sci-fi, I love Star Trek, so actually, I've read a few. And there are several times in the books, because the books aren't cohesive like Star Wars, all existing in the same universe. They are not considered any type of group canon, except unless they're part of an official series. But there was several of them that I read, one of which was a prequel to Star Trek Picard, one of which was just in a general series following all these characters getting together and having fun, where the Admiralty's like, Picard is too much of a wild card. He's he acts up too much. He shouldn't be an admiral because he's just going to cause us problems.
And see,
yeah, so
that's where I agree with you, and that's one of the reasons why I still like to pick the fight that people make this argument that Picard is he's just a more respected, more balanced captain than Kirk. Like, Kirk actually had a lot of friends in the Admiralty. He's not shown at odds with Starfleet Command nearly as much as Picard is. Man, his desk. Look at that.
That's okay. That's literally what I was talking about, where there were scenes that showed him being busy and cluttered and overworked. And that was part of it. There's even a deleted scene that you can go find on YouTube where he's carrying all those pads in and he spills them and he doesn't even want to look at them. So he just leaves them behind.
Okay. Weird transition.
Yeah. Right? This is... Ugh. I hate that. Teeth things freak me out a little bit. My wife has this whole thing about eyes. It's just like if this is like eye mutilation of any kind, she freaks out. For me, it's teeth. I love the stress dreams. Have you ever had the stress dreams where you feel your teeth falling out?
Not that specific one. I definitely had stress dreams. I was going to say, though, I love that their face stretcher is basically the same design as their ship.
Yeah, they do keep the technology design very consistent. They reuse a whole bunch of sets from Deep Space Nine and Voyager. I believe that this particular set, it was actually one from Deep Space Nine, that they redressed for the production.
Flesh stretching sessions.
Flesh
Oh goodness.
stretching sessions. It's funny though. The sonar actually brought up several times in not several times, a couple times in Deep Space Nine. But in some of the expanded lore, the book series I was just talking about, they actually end up forming into a pirate culture.
See, he brought the wrong phaser rifles. He brought he bought the
he brought the
phallic
penis-ended ones again.
Oh, this was
Okay.
Go ahead.
I like the scene, the reveal. It's just like, okay, we're all going with you and all this stuff. It's classic. It's this movie is just, they wanted it to be Heart of Darkness and they decided to make it Seven Samurai instead. Like literally, while they were writing the script, they were like, oh, we're actually going to make this just like Heart of Darkness, where it's going to be Picard descending into the Briar Patch to find Data, because everybody's obsessed with freaking Heart of Darkness. I did not enjoy the book, and I have rarely liked any adaptation of the story. But he's supposed to be hunting down Data, but they transitioned it into literally Seven Samurai, the Magnificent Seven Star Trek edition.
Yeah, except those are better. Seven Samurai is a long movie that you have to work at, but you can see the brilliance there and why it's inspired so many things. And the original Magnificent Seven with Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen is a classic.
Yeah. I will always be a little bit upset. They ended up turning it into a highly different version for the Clone Wars, but George Lucas planned on doing a movie, a spin-off Star Wars movie that, or he wrote the idea down, I should say. There were several, or about 20 scripts that he looked over for potential Star Wars spin-offs, and he really liked one of them that they looked at Disney era to potentially adapt before they got too scared away by Solo's failure, of a Boba Fett movie that was essentially Seven Samurai, where he and a bunch of bounty hunters defend a settlement against pirates. And he's that ended up turning into, quite literally, The Mandalorian and then the Book of Boba Fett.
So, okay, we start to... Do they telegraph in... Okay, there's a delicate balance with this first officer who kind of ends up helping the Enterprise crew later, to kind of not have it come out of nowhere but not make it too obvious. Do you feel like they kind of, I don't know, do you feel like they walked that line okay?
They hinted it a little bit, but they don't hint it enough.
Because it honestly felt a tiny bit out of left field for me. I remember that when I saw this the first time.
Yeah. But also to answer your question, we just saw several males of that one race.
Well, I thought that was a second race.
Because there's two races. You'll see them. One of them has distinct forehead ridges in the back, or that's not forehead. Distinct ridges in the back of their head, and the other one has hair and almost like little tentacles that are covered in hair out the back.
Okay.
Those are supposed to be the two different races. The race with hair is played by Caucasian actors and actresses. The race with ridges is played by black actors and actresses.
Oh.
Picard wearing a leather vest, a leather jacket. You just know that he was just like, I want to be a leather jacket carrying a gun. He wants to be a badass.
See, what's funny is that he got those moments in First Contact, right? He got to have the vest on and carry the rifle, and
yeah, but now he's a renegade. Now he's a bad boy. He'd be driving a motorcycle.
That's funny. I keep seeing trailer moments.
Let's move these people out.
Yeah,
that was in the trailer.
Yeah,
like every trailer.
Oh man.
But yeah, see, here's the rigid guy, the male of the ridge species, as there. Is there something weird about the aspect ratio on your copy?
It is.
Do several scenes seem a little stretched?
A couple. It's funny. I was thinking it might just be the, because I'm watching this on half my monitor. Because I have an ultra-wide monitor, so I just split it when we record this, and so. But it still automatically, puts it in, it's theatrical. I forget the exact ratio. It's not 16:9. What is the theatrical ratio? Anyways, yeah, no, I've had a couple scenes where I've been like, it's a little odd, but I if you're seeing it also, then maybe that's. Because you're watching this on Paramount Plus, right?
I think it's just the movie.
You think it's just the movie?
Yeah.
Weird transporter effect, kind of a dissolve, a little more.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to make it look a little bit more like, oh my gosh, maybe they're dead.
So do
Can't
you
say for
think
certain.
that the Sona are genuinely like, okay, so the whole plan here is dependent on the Sona basically not being willing, even as much as they basically said the alliance is going to fall apart and it's going to end with the destruction of your ship. Yet Picard's
Hmm.
entire plan is counting on the fact that the Sona won't just be like F it and do it with them down there anyways. When there's not been a lot of
Well,
evidence to me that suggests that if he was pushed come to shove, especially once he kills the admiral, that he's not just going to do it anyways. But like Picard is really counting on the
well,
fact
right
that as
here.
long as
If the
they
people
are,
get hurt, we lose all support from the
yeah.
Federation. He
No,
just
I'm
said
not
it.
talking about like right here, but Picard is counting on this guy to not, like basically he's counting on the admiral to hold this guy at bay and trusting the fact that like this whole thing will take long enough that if the Federation shows up, because the Enterprise E goes out and like finds the right people who say, all right, time out, let's come in and investigate this thing before you go any further. That the
Mm.
Sona wouldn't respond by doing something crazy. I just, it definitely seems like a bit of a dice roll that Picard's plan. Although maybe that's the whole point. He's kind of being more impulsive. We're getting a tiny bit of that Picard from Tapestry back.
Yeah. I think that it has to do. I think that that's one of those things you can easily write around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Again,
You can write around a lot of this stuff, but they
there's
didn't
been
write
some
around it.
dialogue about specifically stating that the Sona are desperate, and so going up against the Federation would not do them any favors.
But wouldn't I mean this would be the kind of time where the Federation is in the middle of a freaking Dominion war. This would be one of
Mm.
the best times to basically try to get away with something where the Federation would be like, it's not worth it. We've got bigger things to deal with.
Yeah, but this is such an important resource for them. Like you even see that here as the admiral kind of gives in to Ruafo's pressure and allows the Enterprise to get destroyed in theory.
Yeah. Okay, but even right there, I know I'm sorry, I'm beating this horse up a little bit. The idea that there's not even a mention of like, okay, you're gonna go try to that's the flagship of the Federation. It's a sovereign class ship under the command of a very experienced officer, and you're just casually like, oh, it's not even. There's not a single line of dialogue where there's any even hint that the Enterprise would be a serious threat if they wanted to stop it, and that bothers me.
Well, it's in the Briar Patch, so it's out
So
of
are
its
they.
element. Like, yeah, but they live there.
None of
That's why they call it the Briar Patch. Like the whole Brer Rabbit Briar Patch thing. These are the natives. They know the land.
is it stated somewhere in this movie that the Sona live in the Briar Patch? I don't think it is.
No, maybe that's just me reading into it.
I'm just because I
Never
mean,
mind.
to me, we've got a Mutara Nebula situation here where you know it's the odds will be even. Sauce for the goose, Mr. Savick. The odds will be even.
The sauce for the goose.
This, I like this conversation. This is a decent conversation. Again, Brent Spiner. I keep saying it, but it's so true. Brent Spiner is just a gem.
And man, Picard season 3 when he has the whole like data versus lore thing,
Oh yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Like
That's
when you have an actor playing off himself that well, you know it's a good actor.
and giving. I mean, you're even more of a cat person than I am, but like giving lore spot and having that be
Yeah,
like the final. It's just like, oh,
yeah,
tugs at the heartstrings.
it does indeed.
Do machines ever play?
You see, this is an interesting thing, introducing the idea of playfulness to Data, because we saw him not understanding playfulness properly in previous in Generations when he pushes Crusher off the ship. Like he doesn't understand it. So that's a worthwhile thing to pursue for character development. It's not perfectly done, but it's done in a way that's like, okay, that's cute. I like it.
Yeah. Worf, you need a haircut. Again, full credit to CinemaSins. Because I forget the guy who does their narration. He's so good.
Yeah.
His response to this scene was just Worf should have been like, "What are you looking at, Baldy?" Just like,
Right.
oh.
But the idea of exploring Klingon puberty is hilarious and terrifying.
Well, that
And
great Riker line of you Klingons don't do anything small, do you?
Nope. But they touch on that in interestingly enough, Lower Decks. They really take a whole bunch of these lines and screw around with it. But the Briar Pat, that Lower Decks has a field day with this movie. They
Oh, really?
poke fun at it so much. You'll just have it's like, what are we gonna do? You're just like, go throw an insurrection and hang out with the Amish. Like they love that show is so great. It's hard a little bit because they go too far. It gets overly sexual. There's one episode that's amazing, and then all of a sudden they just have a scene that's a holodeck thing where the ship has gotten affected by the naked time virus, and it's like, oh no, the entire crew is way too horny, and they're all gonna have doesn't show anything, but it's just like they're all gonna have an orgy in the mess hall, and it shows enough,
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on. So that show would go too far, but it's for a Star Trek fan, it's so good sometimes at the stuff they make fun of. Like, as long as you're able to kind of take it with a grain of salt, that this is a very embellished thing where it's considered canon, like the characters do exist in the Star Trek universe, but this isn't necessarily a one-to-one adaptation. It's so good. It's so good. Brian, you need to go watch it.
I know. I need to give it. I've tried to start it once or twice, and I struggle to get. Well, we've talked about this. It's my preferred humor style. It clashes with that show a little bit.
Okay, it's right in my humor style. I'm afraid.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you were okay. Something else. Your boobs have started to firm up. Why wouldn't they care about that kind of thing? I mean, heck, if anything, you would be in this future. You would get to do whatever you wanted to. Nobody would care, right?
Yeah, that's my question.
Why would women stop caring? Like, if anything, you would have more freedom to be exactly who you want to be, and if you care, then you care, and if you don't, you don't. Anyways, that's enough boob talk. But
that was literally just a clumsily clumsy exposition line.
Okay, did these ships?
If they're gonna excuse me, I burped. If they're gonna bring up boobs, they need to make sure that we know that we're not objectifying.
Again, a little rough CG here at times.
Yeah.
Okay, did they attacked them at the village? They all ran out of the village, and did they just stop? Did they just like, you know what? It's all right. We're gonna let them get into the hills. We're gonna let them have time to have a nice conversation.
No, they had a whole
waterfall.
conversation about that. They didn't attack them at the village. They were attacking the transporter.
Well, yeah. But I mean, but they didn't just keep it up until they killed all the transporter inhibitors.
Well, then they were able to get into the they weren't able to get all of them before they were stopped. There was a line about it. It's not a good one, but I know that there was a line.
Okay. All right. Well, I might have missed that.
Discussion about the transporter tag.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it does exist. I'm not saying it's good, but it does exist.
All right. Come on, people. We've seen the Holospeed training program here where you shoot the little glowing lights. They got llamas with phaser rifles on them, you know?
It's just a fantastic little thing. But yeah, Riker in command here is just great. I love this.
We're burning deuterium down here. Okay, this was again. Okay, I'm gonna keep giving credit to CinemaSins that she tells him exactly what's in there, And then like
Yeah.
two scenes later, he's like, "So what's in there?" And it's like, "Were you not paying attention? She told you."
He just needed a reminder, okay?
He did.
But yeah, I will admit, as like a 10-year-old watching this movie, I thought that ensign, the diet Dax that we have there, was so pretty. I
She
specifically remember for like a couple years sitting there going, "Oh yeah, pretty women in movies." Jennifer Connelly in The Rocketeer, and that the helmsman in Insurrection. And it's just one of those irrational things, you know, or rational to a child.
the
Ugh.
oh gosh. This I I get in a script why this works. Like it looks cool. You finally get to do it. You finally get to eject the warp core. There's like
Yeah.
two things though about this that bother me. One is it's just such a writing thing where there's literally nothing to stop them from doing it again. He says it out loud here, but it's like if they did it again, the Enterprise would be cooked. And two, as somebody who really gets into like Star Trek's tech and like the ships, the Enterprise without the warp core, I mean, maybe this is the one good explanation why the Enterprise is all of a sudden very vulnerable. Because without its warp core, its power generation capability is drastically reduced, and so its shields and weapons would be, far less than normal.
Yeah.
Also,
Which,
too,
which
the
Star Trek was it where we actually got to see
nacelles?
them eject the core, and it like has the force field go up and the ting ting ting.
Oh gosh,
Was that?
um,
I can't remember,
can't either.
but I thought it was this movie. It might have been Discovery or something. No, Discovery didn't have a warp core like that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I do love that
we finally
the
get to see them actually eject the core.
Yeah.
Where it's not just, oh, the core's suddenly gone. We actually see them eject the core.
Yeah. I do really like the line in a fresh out of warp course. It's a good line.
Well, I mean, they should carry a spare. Like,
So,
that's
in
one of the
the-
things that's brought up. Like, there was a spare warp core on Voyager.
Well, and actually in the technical manual, for the Enterprise D, it specifically says that they do carry all the components to assemble a backup warp core.
No, they'd need to assemble it. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean they
they
wouldn't
can't
just
exactly do that in the middle of a battle.
No, they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see here.
I
That's-
yeah, I just it's I'm not sure they're building like this is supposed to be tense and kind of I don't know. It's just they move through this really fast. This is a very nice cave, by the way. Like I would hang out in this cave. They got like water and I mean, granted it's being shot at, but it's very low stakes, kind of low tension through here. I think, and like this effect of like how clean this hole is when they blow it through, and just there's not tension in all this. You never once truly feel like the crew might be in trouble. Like there's real stakes and consequences if they don't succeed.
Yeah. Man,
It's very pretty.
I think I might be attributing some other sci-fi to Star Trek. I'm like looking at all the other times warp core ejection is being shown, and none of them fit. Because like you see it from the outside in an episode of Voyager, and it genuinely looks like Voyager is. There's something about the movement that's just like Voyager's pooping.
I think,
but there's another sci-fi that has like a core ejection that's intense and violent, and I can't think of what it is. Might have been like Stargate Destiny.
I love two things. One, the RAM scoop's being used finally. I appreciate that. I hate this. What do you think of this?
Yes, this was
I hate
so
this.
90s.
I had that joystick. I played X-Wing with that joystick. What is it doing on the Enterprise's bridge? It looks tacky and out of place.
Right?
Also, too,
Like-
there is no conceivable way that Riker would have the spatial awareness on the bridge. Like, it wouldn't work. It's
No.
stupid.
Like it just feels so 90s.
Yeah. It's like using X in
Um,
marketing, you know? It's like that kind of a feel. Also, too, what do you think of the bazooka?
uh, I really like what they turned it into in Elite Force 2,
With the mini torpedo
the
launcher?
portable photon torpedo launcher.
Yeah. It just, the prop itself looks bad to me. It looks like just a stainless steel, like just aluminum tube with like a little shoulder
Yeah.
indent or whatever. And it's just, yeah. See,
Yeah.
the kid's always screwing things up.
Kids are always screwing things up.
I forgot his pet.
Sorry, I'm doing some research on the research. I'm doing some research. I'm doing some research on the warp core ejection thing. It's stuck in my brain now.
You're really stuck on this thing, aren't you?
I am. What movie scene am I thinking of? It's like, do you remember when we were doing The Island and I was telling you about how there was a movie scene that got stuck in my head that was the robotic arm scooping up the blood in the surgery, and I hadn't seen the movie in like 15 years? It's that kind of moment where it's like I have a song stuck in my head, but I don't know what song it is.
Yeah. No, I thing is too, I actually know what you're referring to. I know there's a scene where you actually watch an engine core like slide down essentially. Is that what you're kind of thinking about?
Yeah.
It definitely exists. You're not wrong. Okay, Picard did not exercise proper safety when he passed the rifle to that guy. He literally just pointed it at him and let go, and the guy grabbed it by the barrel. I'm saying that's poor gun etiquette right there.
Yeah. No, it really is, and a lot of them they do not have good trigger discipline here.
Go. Aw. Got the old cave-in plot. I mean, it's a classic, right?
This whole cave-in thing is it doesn't go anywhere. They could have cut this entire cave-in thing out.
It doesn't,
and they wouldn't have lost anything. Yeah.
4 metric tons.
Metric.
That's a lot. That's a lot of rock. I'm just saying. All the data, like I get it.
Yeah.
Oh,
you could just see that they're just props.
Yeah.
They don't have the proper weight.
It's big paper mache. Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember they get him dusty.
Yeah.
I remember how like they do very well at just making him dusty.
Well, especially when you got his head, the dust is there on the head, you know.
Yeah.
His girlfriend got hit by rocks.
Yeah, I'm glad that they don't turn her into a full like love interest, but it's like kind of there, because that was one of the things, is that they were going to give him like an end game love interest for this movie.
Nah,
and I'm glad they did.
I dislike more about season 3 of Picard than you do, but if they had tried to do anything other than Crusher as who we ended up having a kid with, I don't think it would have worked.
Not even Vaj?
Vaj could have been like a fun little wink. Like, I have no problem with the idea of them having a relationship. Having a kid together, it's a much more interesting story. Vaj was always like kind of a fun little distraction in a Q episode or a Ferengis and stuff around, but she was never interesting as a character on her own. It was always kind of like she was a plot device that was kind of fun and quirky and brought out a side of Picard that was, but it never worked outside of little moments.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that they could have expanded her into something. I think that she has a...
The actress was great,
by the way.
I'm not trying to... Go ahead.
She was used as the inspiration for a character that's become moderately popular in modern Star Wars, a comic book character named Dr. Aphra, who is very obviously supposed to be a Nathan Drake, Indiana Jones scoundrel archaeologist, and they've had some Bosch winks. That is a helicopter shot, filmed at about 10,000 feet.
But I'd say, it wasn't stabilized. It was janky looking. I mean, the way that it moved. Yeah. Ooh, they're lining up.
This is such a Western, Magnificent Seven shot. And just how far the camera needs to dip down to get Marina Sirtis' eyeline.
Oh, and
Like,
just like the weird decision that's like the drones are waiting for something. What were the drones waiting for?
they're registering hostiles. And
Maybe
they're giving them time to be epic. Like, I
Data's
don't
gotta.
mind the actual action. I just wish that the drones were more intimidating. I wish that they were scarier.
They look like target practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, a lot of these. See, yeah, there's a male one of that, and yeah,
You got Picard.
and there's a male one of the other race in the back there.
You're
He's
right.
got
Okay.
the hair.
Picard's like, I'm holding on to my girlfriend. Don't bother me.
Well, they got all the dust off of him.
I promise you won't be court-martialed. Okay. What did you think of the reveal though of this?
Oh
Like,
my
did you
gosh,
think
it's
that this
the
was a good?
2009 Star Trek. It's the 2009 Star Trek. They do a warp core ejection into a black hole.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's right.
What were you saying?
Wow. No, I was going to ask you. So we haven't been really talking. Well, we talked a little bit about the twist and the timeline. What did you think of this twist though? Like, did you think it worked in some kind of a way to like make this conflict more interesting?
It worked in retrospect because again, I was a kid when I first saw this. I didn't the understanding of why that would be such a big deal. Like, there's it adds depth, it adds layers. You could tell that they were doing something with it. They were cooking, but they didn't follow it through. And it doesn't matter enough.
I do like this that the Baku kind of like he asked him like basically like who are you, because they would like know each other, right? Like they would actually know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Those children are gone forever. So were they were like rebellious teenagers basically. So a century ago.
Yeah.
So it's only 100 years.
Okay.
So 100 years. That is fast, man. Again,
Yeah.
unless the Baku left some ships in orbit just in case somebody changed their mind, that is really fast.
Yeah. That's awkward.
This would be like weird though. Okay,
Yeah.
the neckline of Picard's shirt bothers me. I don't know why. It's just weird. We don't have a jacket over it. It just looks odd.
It's square, right?
Yeah, it's like,
it's weird. It's like, look at my clavicles, but only my clavicles.
and this cool cut I got on my head makes me look manly. And again, I say that Patrick Stewart is in fantastic shape, especially for his age. So I'm not hating. I wish I was in that kind of shape, and I'm much younger than him.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that was a Deep Space Nine set? Looking at that.
Oh yeah, this is a redressed part of the promenade.
Yeah.
This has got to be.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
I mean, look at those railings.
Now
God,
this
was cool.
Yeah, this
I
is a
remember
bad
as
way
a
to
kid,
go.
this kind of shocked me. Also, I'm not sure how this would kill him. I mean, that I could see killing him. But this part, like, how does the stretcher kill him?
I do like that even at the end here, the Admiral's basically just like, screw you, you know? Like, the Admiral doesn't, like, beg for his life or anything here. He has a little bit of kahunas here at the end.
Yeah. This is just so gross. The warping, like, it does not look
effect,
good.
Yeah, the effect there is not good because his eyes
Okay, but look closely at the body, all right? I think there was a different special effect that was too gruesome. Like, you could see props. You could see that it looks like stuff has really come out that doesn't match the morph that we saw, the CG morph.
Yeah. Well, the biggest problem with the morph is the face loses its 3 dimension. The face kind of goes, like the eyes especially. They look like a 2D image.
Yeah. I I think that was a rush job. I think there was a much more gruesome, dirty effect, maybe even a practical effect that was deemed too gross and would have gotten it a higher rating, and they had to fix it. Because if you look at that wide shot afterward, you could see that there's like red spikes or something pushing out of the face of the admiral. Like there, I swear there's something there.
They really like to use like so right there they have the little reference to like shields being weak in a certain area, and then later on when they're beaming in, they talk about like a gap in the shields. The Sona's shield technology is very hit or miss. It seems like depending on where you are in the ship.
Yeah,
Okay,
it does seem like that, doesn't it?
I do admit I kind of like the sails. I mean, it's a little bit the CG's questionable at times. But it reminds me of actually one of my favorite episodes of DS9 where Cisco goes, "Oh wow, okay, it's been a minute."
Yeah, that's not a great effect.
That's not a great effect. Okay, but
kind of PlayStation 3.
Yeah, okay, the wider shot's a little bit better. But do you remember the one where Cisco goes sailing with Jake?
I never liked that episode.
Really? I kind of liked it.
I rewatched it and I accept that it is a good episode. It doesn't hit anything for me. I have no emotional attachment to it. I thought it was pretty boring when I was younger.
Yeah, I can see that. To me, and maybe this is because I've been a dad a long time now. I always liked a good Cisco Jake episode.
Yeah,
because and in real life they had a real bond. Like is it Sirach Lofton? I think it's Sirach.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he's talked many times that Avery Brooks really took him under his wing, and really was like a dad to him during the filming of DS9. And so I think they had some good chemistry. They had some real connection, and I appreciated that. And there were episodes where they were together. Like The Visitor, obviously, massive shout out to Tony Todd for that episode also.
Tony Todd.
But the really good episodes with Jake and Cisco exploring their father-son relationship is one of those things that it was done well by those two actors, and I like the fact that it was one of the few times Star Trek ever decided to truly explore a family dynamic.
Mm-hmm. That's one of those things that, like, I remember several years ago, my friends and I were talking about, if you could make your own Star Trek, what would it look like? And I liked the idea of having, imagine if there was a thing, because I didn't dislike the whole mother-daughter relationship that they were trying to set up for Star Trek Discovery. I just don't think they went through with it very well. And so I like the idea. What if you had like the captain or the first officer or something, and one of the other senior officers is their kid? Almost like what if Harry Kim was Janeway's son, type of thing. And we were talking about that type of thing that could work, and that could be a really interesting family dynamic for a Star Trek show. Yeah.
I do appreciate that they used the I think it's a little clunky because the idea that people who are awake don't realize they've been transported, I think kind of violates a lot of pre-established Star Trek rules. But I do like that they use the holo ship.
Yeah. I also this lady's face freaked me out. Got this Sona lady, and her face is just all stretched out. And I remember when a Doctor Who was first coming back in 2005, and they have that episode with the lady who is the last living human, and she's like got she's just a face, and she's all stretched out. And all these people like, oh hey, it's a proof that it takes place in the same universe. It's just this lady 100 years later, Yeah. Anyway,
I do appreciate I do appreciate that they try to kind of reference something something that they did when they got Data to begin with. The idea that this captain's yacht is not a combat craft. Ooh,
I like that they use it though. There's a captain's yacht that's in all technical manual
Yeah.
for the Intrepid class in Star Trek Voyager, and they never use the captain's yacht. Ever. You could see it on the model the entire time, and they never use it.
So right there, they all got transported.
Mm-hmm.
It's just okay. So right there, by the way, also the timer should have been at 10 seconds because it was at 10 seconds right when it flashed, right when they were all transported.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. This is it's a little bit hand wavy, although by no means is this like the most egregious thing done in science fiction. We've done plenty of hand wavy things, including Star Trek. Obviously, has done plenty of them. So this is nitpicky.
Mm-hmm. Did you know Star Trek is not considered hard sci-fi by a lot of people because it's too hand wavy?
I wouldn't consider it. I wouldn't consider it hard sci-fi. I think that it's, to me, Star Trek is hard sci-fi in a conversation where you consider Star Wars sci-fi. If you consider Star Wars sci-fi, then to me Star Trek is hard sci-fi. But and we've had this conversation many times. Star Wars to me is space fantasy.
Yeah.
And if you slide the scale to appropriately, and I don't mean that in any disrespect, by the way. I think Star Wars is amazing. It's not science fiction. By many, many definitions. And if you do that, then I completely actually agree that Star Trek is not hard sci-fi. I think it has hard sci-fi episodes.
It was like its heart was in the right place. It was such a precursor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I think
because I feel like Dune, people think of Dune as hard sci-fi.
No.
I don't think it is.
No.
Because
hard sci-fi is difficult to do well, honestly. It gets boring very easily.
Ad Astra.
Yeah, I mean, The Expanse is one of the big examples of good hard sci-fi, and the idea of using the limitations of physics and that kind of stuff to your advantage to make the story more interesting. Okay, this yell.
Yeah, this F. Murray Abraham just cutting loose.
You think there was a little Khan inspiration there?
Yeah, because they even do the little, it keeps going into the space scene. Yeah. So, would you consider, The Martian, The Expanse, Contact, Hail Mary, Project Hail Mary?
Project Hail Mary. Yes, I would consider them hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
I mean, any of Andy Weir's stuff, as much as it's obviously very, fiction, I do think that a lot of, it's definitely the intent there is to be grounded in something real. And there are definitely chunks of Star Trek that are grounded in real ideas. I'm not, if anybody out there going no, it is hard. I'm not denying that Star Trek doesn't have elements of hard sci-fi, but there's also just a lot of, like you said, hand wavy. I almost feel like
tachyons.
Anytime, this is cheating a little bit, but anytime you create artificial gravity in deck plating, I feel like you've kind of immediately, gone out of the realm of hard sci-fi.
That's actually funny because I'm reading a book right now that is very much like hard sci-fi, but one of the things is grav plates, and they're like the basis for all major spacefaring technology, and it's a fun book. I think you'd actually like it. It's called Troy Rising, and it's a trilogy by a guy by the name of John Ringo, and not that Ringo, but you just have to be careful with his books because he likes to write a lot of hard sci-fi that's funny. It's got kind of humor to it, but he tries to explore some really interesting science fiction ideas. And then his other books are action-oriented espionage BDSM erotica novels that will put 50 Shades of Grey to shame. And I didn't know that. I'm just like, oh, John Ringo, I love him. That one's on sale. I'll pick it up.
Oh, and you didn't know you were getting a softcore porn novel.
Oh, no. No.
Not softcore?
This was not softcore. No, this was not softcore. This would put 50 Shades of Grey to shame.
Okay, then.
And I returned that one. Not my style. Oh my gosh. But
why are villains always such horrible shots?
What?
I mean, it's again, this is a trope of tropes, but man, villains are horrible shots.
Yeah. Worf is actually fighting and getting,
Well,
you
he's
know,
he's
his
young and
licks in.
invigorated, right? He's like, let's go.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Oh, Wolf.
Two little skinny blue guys can overcome you at your best, Worf. That's a good shot. Just
Yeah.
the ship, like the
Well,
da da da.
the Briar Patch in
slicing
general
through.
looks pretty good. I think honestly, like
Yeah.
the CG points. Okay, do the beam blasts in general from all the phasers, both Sona and Federation, not look quite as good in this movie? Also,
No, they don't.
they just
I was
look
actually thinking about that.
yeah, they look a little bit more. I don't know. They're not as sharp, if that makes sense.
hmm This whole ending confrontation is just so blah. They needed an entirely different climax to this movie. And I don't know what the deal was that they weren't able to do it. Like, they just got stuck into this.
And this is
Um,
super nitpicky, but like Picard didn't even hesitate at knowing exactly what to do with that console.
yeah.
It was weird. It just seemed like it seemed very rehearsed, if that made sense. Like walking up,
Mhm.
you know, press, twist, yank out, put in. Like it's just, it seems very rehearsed. Again, there's not tension.
Now he yells stop. Like, just shoot him.
We're getting too old for this.
Did you read about the other ending that they had? The other death for Ruafo?
I remember reading about it like a long time ago, but I honestly have forgotten because I kind of moved on from this movie and never thought about it again. But wait, what is
They
it?
filmed a scene here where essentially Picard does his little thing. He ends up getting beamed off. Ruafo's not killed in a plasma explosion. He's killed by the dispersal thing going off, but incorrectly. And essentially he ages backwards unto death. And they had F. Murray Abraham in like 10 different levels of makeup. And they had to do over days, getting the same shot over and over again in these different makeup. They were all going to morph together to make him look like he's de-aging to death. And it was all thrown out.
I do remember reading about that, and I feel like I saw some. Okay, this shot coming up.
Yeah, you can watch it. You can watch it.
Yeah. This bothers me. The Enterprise looks. It's like a model. It really looks like a model of the Enterprise all of a sudden.
I don't. What bothers me is that we had already had a previously shown. What do you call it?
A scale. Because
side by side scale.
Yeah, they were next to
between
each
the
other.
two of them.
Yeah, it was about
now
3
it's,
times
tiny.
the size of the Enterprise, if memory serves, right? Roughly. I mean,
Yeah,
definitely
and here they
bigger.
have it making like a freaking trench run on it.
Yeah. Man, the bridge, they cannot help but to, just damage this bridge in every next gen movie.
You see, this whole movie, they missed the perfect arcs. Because one of the things that they don't acknowledge here, but this is very clearly supposed to be the follow-up for Riker. This is the catalyst that pushes him towards command of his own ship, which he then takes the beating of Nemesis in the form of the Titan.
Yeah.
But I feel like this should have been more. I get that Patrick Stewart is the captain, and he was the producer. This should have been Riker's movie. I think that it should have been more of a duology partner movie between Riker and Picard, instead of it just being primarily Picard's movie. Like, there's so much you could have done with it.
Yeah, and
how would you fix this?
I feel like you need to rewrite the Baku almost entirely. You need to give them something besides the fact that if you pulled them away from here, they would lose the benefit. You need to have the even if you arrive at the same conclusion, you need to have the conversation about why, and this might sound cold, but you need to have the conversation of why these 600 people keeping, like you said, the fountain of youth is morally a greater good than the benefit it would bring to trillions of people. Um,
Mm.
you need to give the downside. You need to make them more interesting enough where the audience cares. I definitely think you need to bring a little bit more of kind of, have the you could literally have a cold open in this. Can you imagine? Okay, a cold open where the Enterprise has just have like 2 or 3 minutes of space battle, or even like 30 seconds. I mean, something short, and do a panning shot of like the end of a battle that shows the wreckage of a dozen or more Federation ships, and
Hmm.
and do a version in this movie where Captain Picard is like looking at casualty lists. Like I think of like some of the great scenes like, leading up to In the Pale Moonlight in DS9. Setting up
Mm.
Cisco's mental state leading up to that episode where he's just like looking at casualty reports, and they show Dax seeing that one of her best friends had died on a ship, and you could have cold opened with a really with an establishing scene that puts Picard in the place he should have been in to be very emotionally vulnerable to this scenario.
Hmm.
And then
They could even use like a character that appeared on Next Gen. Maybe like I don't know if Shelby would be a good use, but like somebody that we might recognize as a fan.
I mean,
You
he
know?
was, yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, Barkley was in he was already in Voyager, so you couldn't do that to him.
Yeah.
Um I mean,
No. Yeah, because Shelby went on to be the captain of the or
yeah,
Admiral
of the F.
F. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, bringing in somebody who I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you, but yeah, have something where there is some stakes established. There is you're setting the table for the dire nature of just life right now. The Federation is on the ropes. The Enterprise, and have some dialogue that says, this is the sixth engagement, and like in the last week or two, and just how draining this is, and how the crew is running. Have Picard added, like, do that. Take 5 to 7 minutes and set up, not just for Picard but for the whole crew, the emotional state that they're in, and
Hmm.
get rid of all the nonsense with the short aliens and the weird diplomacy stuff. None of that works. None of that matters. Use that
Yeah,
time
that was fun.
instead to set up where Picard's at, and then I do think that you're right. I think that Riker actually got a decent amount to do, but if you really split it up where Riker is going through an arc where he is coming into his own as command, and he and Deanna, and realizing that like he's
He's
kind
too
of
comfortable.
ready, to move on, and I
Or
just
he's more than ready.
yeah.
I think that the best arc that you could have done for Riker in this movie would be kind of him acknowledging that he's only staying on the Enterprise for Deanna.
That would have been, yeah,
Um
because that would have meant them getting together would have been kind of his final. Oh, I can leave now
and having
because
that
you'll come with
moment,
me.
could you because it has them immediately flirty, which is one of the most fun parts of the movie. So I would kind of hate the idea of ruining that. But having this moment of kind of tension between the two, where she realizes that she's it like not perfectly, it's not her fault, but he's holding himself back for her, would be such an interesting thing to play with. And I just I want I want more Riker.
Yeah.
I love Riker. I've always loved Riker. For those of you who don't know, I didn't bring this up. Oh my god. You might not know this actually, Brian.
Oh, okay.
You might
What
not.
do you got?
My mom shot this down because she sees Riker as a little bit too much of a horny man.
He is a little
My
bit of a horny man.
dad wanted to name me Riker.
Interesting.
He wanted my name when I was born to be Riker because he loved Star Trek The Next Generation. And he actually tried to talk my mom into it, and she was like, no. And then there was apparently the discussion at one point of me being called William Riker McCarl. That was going to be my name. And uh, my dad doesn't like the name William because it's too bland.
So what's funny is that Connor's middle name is Will.
Yeah, but genuinely, I was almost named Riker. And I'm probably that story may have been exaggerated over time through my parents, but that's been what's been reported to me. Also, this came out in 1997, right?
Yeah.
98, 97. Does the
98.
music sound a little 98? Thank you. Does the music sound a little bit like Independence Day to you?
A tiny bit, maybe.
There's some hints. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, this movie, there was an idea here, and we didn't actually talk too much about Michael Piller. He's somebody who I respect and I honestly admire quite a bit. He was instrumental in some of the best stuff of Next Gen. He was one of the big people that was able to pull Next Gen out of the problems it was having in its first season, into its first two seasons, and he is one of the most important men that got Next Gen to what it turned into in seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
He also was one of the two guys who came up with the concept of DS9. Like he and Ira Stephen Bear. Just he is responsible for so much of what I consider to be the best '90s Trek that ever happened.
Yeah.
And he tragically passed early, I believe, from cancer. And somebody
he
who
was 57.
Yeah, if you go listen to interviews with Ron Moore about
head and neck cancer. That's a bad way to go.
Yeah. If you go listen to interviews with Ron Moore, who wrote First Contact and wrote All Good Things and was instrumental in some of the best stuff DS9 ever did and wrote BSG. I mean, he's a fantastic sci-fi writer. He holds Michael Piller up as basically his professional father, as like the man who nurtured him and like got him to where he's at. So he has a tremendous amount of respect for Michael Piller. And in a way, I just feel sad that this was kind of Michael Piller's final stamp on Star Trek. And it's just like, because he wrote some truly fantastic stories and he guided the writing team for Next Gen through some of the best Star Trek ever made. And I hate that this was his last. And I know that this movie is not what he wanted it to be. So I know
he wrote in. For those of you who don't know, Michael Piller wrote an entire novella or novel about writing Star Trek Insurrection, about how insane it was, how rushed, and how they massacred what he thought was a really good vision for a Star Trek movie.
And the thing is, I don't disagree. I think that there are the bones of a really good Star Trek tale here. This movie to me was kind of the definition of a good idea that got kind of just to death by a thousand cuts. There were a lot of decisions made, and a
lot of it was studio interference. I know that what's his face, Jonathan Frakes had such a tough time on it versus the easy time that he had on First Contact that he declined to direct Nemesis, that he views as a huge mistake.
Yeah, and that's where I think that if you had because I don't think this movie's problem was with its directing, so I don't blame much of this movie's failings on Jonathan Frakes.
There's some directorial decisions. There's some directorial.
Yeah, but like I think that if you fixed everything that wasn't a directorial decision, you would have a really good movie.
That's true.
I'm not trying to say that there weren't some, because this isn't directed as strongly or as competently as First Contact, but yeah, it's just.
Had less time to prepare than First Contact.
Yeah, they definitely rushed this. I mean, First Contact was a big success both commercially and critically. I mean, it really was the Wrath of Khan for Next Gen. The idea of like, all right, we kind of stumbled out of the gate, but like here we go and kind of get and just nail the follow up. So I understand why they rushed it, but it is just it always has made me sad that Next Gen. I mean, the original series, I mean, you can count Generations if you want to, but the original crew got Star Trek 6 as their swan song. Like, it could have been 5. It could have been 5. But they got one last shot, and they made Undiscovered Country, which I love that movie. I know you do too. And it's just like, Next Gen, who we had so much great television with, and First Contact was so good. And that Insurrection and Nemesis is how they kind of left. It's just... ugh. And I know
Yes,
Picard season 3 has a lot of good in it, but it's almost like a
it was a pretty
bonus.
good swan song.
It
It was a
was,
pretty good swan song for
it was, but it's just it's still it's not the same. It's not the same as during their peak, getting to go out on a high
We'll
note.
talk about that. We'll talk more about that next week.
Yeah, we will. So, but that's I mean, yeah, that's my rough thoughts on how to fix this. I don't like hate this
I
movie
have
or
so many
anything.
thoughts on how this could theoretically be
Yeah,
fixed, but I won't go into all of them except that just I think that they needed to make this just less peaceful, less meditative. Um, you know, they needed to have a little bit more intensity to it, and I think that they should have focused on
yeah,
Riker more and his growth towards becoming a captain. And this should have been a movie for the entire cast to come together to have really cool stuff. But once again, they focused entirely on Picard, and it was a bunch of missed opportunities in that way.
yeah.
This made only $120 million on a $170 million, which is not great.
No, the
And it's
fact
kind
that
of amazing that we even got Nemesis.
it's nuts to me. Well, Nemesis took a while.
Mm.
It's nuts to me that this movie cost more than First Contact. It is that money is not on screen. Put it that way.
No, what is that?
Yeah. This is a total dad phrase, but I'm going to end with this. This to me is one of the ultimate. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Right?
This is
And
this is the
quite
start. This is the Star
possibly,
Trek movie that is that phrase for me.
and quite possibly in a narrative structure, the worst Star Trek film ever made. But we'll discuss more of that next year with Star Trek Into Darkness.
All right. Well, tune back in next week. We will wrap up the next gen movies with Star Trek Nemesis.
Oh my goodness. Let's get some coked up Tom Hardy in here. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.